One of the reasons people come to Madeira is to hike the Levadas, 2,500 kilometers of irrigation channels which lead you through the wilds. I'm told one walk is never enough, that these dramatic landscapes can get you hooked. Many countries around the world have created irrigation systems, but none are like Madeira's Levadas. Apart from being a feat of engineering, determination, and ingenuity, it's their accessibility and the truly spectacular landscapes which they allow you access to that makes them truly unique. They are the lifeblood of the island, providing water to taps and plantations, and electricity to homes and businesses through hydroelectric power. Without the Levadas, human habitation on Madeira would be nigh on impossible. We're here in the north of the island, and when I look out at this view, it makes me think that this is what the first inhabitants would have thought when they came to Madeira. When Zargo came and, colonized Madeira, because there was nobody living here at the time, this is exactly what they saw. Completely unspoilt. This is the climax. I've just finished one of the famous Levada walks, and we've walked through this incredible forest, incredible scenery, feeling very green and healthy and breathing in clean, fresh air. And this interesting part of the Levada walk was that it ventures into the Laurisilva UNESCO protected forest. And this is exactly why it's protected. It's spectacular, and we must ensure it remains so. Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Bom dia. ¿Estás bordeando?
Está bordando.
Is it para una mesa?
Para pôr na mesa, para uma.
Can I see? Oh, that's wonderful.
Sim, mesa quarto jantar.
Yes, horizontal.
Depois faz isto, assim, depois vai bordar aqui, assim. Assim, toda a volta vai bordado.
Right, so you've done this side.
Este é o avesso.
Yes.
Este é o avesso, este é o direito.
Bom dia, bom dia.
Mostrando a minha bordada, mas ainda estão para fazer. Vai-se acabar se Deus quiser. Vai-se fazendo aos poucos.
Is your friend coming to embroider as well?
Come.
Bordeo tradicional? Este más tradicional que...
Madeira.
De Madeira?
Este é melhor que este é melhor que este.
Madeira é melhor que aquele.
Que aquele, é melhor.
¿Con que usted has dibujado? ¿O es una estampa?
Estampa na casa.
Na casa?
Na casa. A casa estampa, então depois vendo.
Agora vem bordado.
Agora vem bordado.
Já está o desenho criado, a gente chama o desenho.
Yes. It's the flowers and I suppose these look a bit like the orchids that you get here. And this is traditional Madeiran embroidery. And as you can see, it's a stamp that they use that's around the cloth. And then they embroider over it. It's beautiful. ¿Y vosotras habéis aprendido a bordear desde pequeñita?
Sim, pequenininha, exatamente. As nossas mães já bordavam. As nossas mães.
Your mothers?
Já bordavam, as
Vuestras
mães já
madres?
bordavam. E depois deixar esta herança às filhas.
Mesmo também não havia outro
Sim, não
trabalho.
havia outra coisa na
Não
altura.
havia outra coisa. Era bordar, ou a cortar lenha, ou a dar dia fora a apanhar a erva. Era assim.
I asked whether it was something that they were taught to do by their mothers and grandmothers as young girls, and they've explained that they didn't have the opportunity to go to school. They live in a very remote little village. It's called San Roque, actually. It's a small parish. And there was no school here. It would have involved getting a bus and a long journey down to one of the bigger towns. So school wasn't an option for them. So it was something they learnt to do from a very young age. When they were a little bit older, they were allowed to go into the forest and look for kindling for their log fires in order to cook. Unfortunately, they've tried to teach their daughters and granddaughters, but what with school and then, you know, the involvement from the outside world, it's something that hasn't happened. But this is a tradition that looks like it's being maintained in Madeira. These ladies used to work for an agency and for an embroidery factory and sell to the tourists and shops, but now they're both retired and it's something they continue to do for pleasure.
Welcome to the Cantina da Serra.
Lina, thank you very much. So Cantina da Serra specializes in traditional Madeiran cuisine, doesn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, sure. There's three types of bread.
Three types of bread. Rosquilha, bolo do caco,
I know the bolo do caco.
and sweet potatoes bread.
Do traditionally people eat a selection of starters
Yes.
like this, so that they wouldn't just choose one? They'd have four or
no.
five and share?
Even if they want just one starter, we bring in small containers, but all the 6 different things they try.
Oh,
And
that's
they-
wonderful. I like it. So it's always a bit of a picnic.
Yes. Yeah, in here we have the espada. That's onions, peppers, red and green peppers, olives and tomatoes and garlic. The shepherd cod fish. I think that's the only restaurant doing this fish.
Really?
That's so many ways to do the codfish, but
Yes.
this one is
It's
It's
typical
different,
to the
yes.
region and to you. That's
the base as well is the onions. This is
Okay.
onions with olive oil and some herbs, and then the codfish with the.
you fry it in flour. or
It's not fried, just
just
round.
coated?
Just
Okay.
coated. Yes. Then the potatoes we cut in half, put on the top, and this is to put on the top as well. The bread crumbles, the curry.
Curry?
Yes, and a drop of milk.
Oh, interesting. And so the feast begins. This is a feast of magnificent and mouth-watering proportions, showcasing the very best of Madeiran cuisine. 2 types of fish, pork and chicken farmed locally, a splendid array of fresh and seasonal vegetables, and all accompanied with some locally produced wine. I am spoilt indeed. I relish the flavors, aromas and colors of this delicious bounty as I endeavor to eat as much of it as possible. Needless to say, I'm pretty successful. The term gluttony springs to mind. Lina, are you kidding me?
Nope.
I didn't think we were doing desserts. We were doing traditional food.
No, but at the end we bring the selection we have, and
This is your selection of
Yes.
desserts. I don't want to put it down. Oh, you can see the seeds in it. I mean, look at the vibrancy of the color on that. Isn't that beautiful? If I had to come here and choose a dessert again, I'd be really, really stuck. I wouldn't envy my position because, you know what, I'd say, don't eat for a month, and just come here and eat for 3 days, collapse in their backyard, and just enjoy all this incredibly delicious food. Now, you may just want to do something else whilst I keep on eating. I finally managed to tear myself away from the glorious desserts and decide yet another walk is in order. So I head to Camacha. Camacha is famed for a couple of reasons. The first is football, for it was here in the centre of this tiny village that the first football match in Portugal was ever played. In 1875, a British family created this pitch, and it's still used today. The second reason is its wicker production. Harvested in the mountains around the town, it's dried and graded before being twisted into an extraordinary array of objects. At the epicenter are a group of nimble-fingered craftsmen who work companionably alongside each other, sharing stories, intent on keeping this traditional craft alive. This obviously has to be soaked because it's very, very, very tough, so you can't work it. So they'll soak it for as long as it's required, depending on the type of or what it is that they're making. They're making baskets, you can see tables, wine holders. There's a boat upstairs. And then what they do is, again, depending on what it is that they're manufacturing, there's a special equipment behind me, and they'll slice it. So as you can see, this is a very thin, very bendy, very flexible piece of the cane that's been thinly sliced. It's a ribbon of wicker. Plácido, esto es una tradición que veo que la gente que están aquí son de cierta edad.
Sí, sí, sí.
¿Se está perdiendo con la juventud de Madeira?
Sí, sí, porque lamentablemente no es muy bien remunerado. Entonces a la gente joven busca otro tipo de actividad y no precisamente la artesanía del mimbre.
Yes, he's explaining, and unfortunately it's happening worldwide. When it comes to local traditions and artisan work, it's something that is not well paid. So the younger generations are looking for easier jobs where they're going to make the money. Una preguntita. ¿Vosotros se acordáis de las gibraltareñas? ¿O gibraltarinas?
Sí, Pedro.
Aquí se dicen, Pedro, aquí se dice gibraltarinas.
Porque aqui na Camacha.
Aqui em Camacha.
Aqui havia um hotel que vinieron.
Havia um hotel que está em ruínas. Ninguém reconstrui, está em ruínas. Que elas viviam, foram acomodadas lá, nesse hotel.
Yes, here in Camacha, he's explaining there was a hotel that was in ruins, that was falling to pieces, but they accommodated some of the Gibraltarians here, some of the women and children.
Tu mamãe que te comentava algo.
Comentava.
Que comentava sua mamãe?
Eram muito bonitas.
Ah.
A mamãe disse que
Os rapazes.
Que eram muito...
Nesse tempo, as raparigas em Portugal, era Salazar que mandava.
Nessa época, Portugal era governado por Salazar.
As raparigas... A senhora é uma rapariga, vou dizer. As raparigas aqui usavam a roupa...
As muchachas usavam roupa larga. E as gibraltinas usavam a roupa por arriba da rodilla.
Pedro is sharing his mother, what he remembers his mother telling him about the Gibraltarians, and it's quite telling. We've heard a lot of memories that have been recalled by the men, by the gentlemen, so it's interesting to hear a woman's side. And she's also agreed with the fact that they were very, very beautiful. But she certainly remembered that the clothes were perhaps not as decent as the women were used to. Not that the Gibraltarian woman would have been indecent, perhaps, but they would have been maybe wearing something a little bit shorter, perhaps showing a little bit of ankle, whilst during the time here, the women were far more conservative and were generally covered up a lot more.
Ella dice que las mujeres de acá se revoltavam, se ponían, digamos, un poco celosa, porque la gibraltina era mucho más bella que ella y eran se vestían más atractivas, eran más feministas, pues.